What is your Tinder horror story? It ended up being a double date with his mom and her OkCupid date. He told me that he and his mom were a package deal. I was mortified and there was no second date. That reminds me of a story from high school, although not a dating story. Knew this kid from school. His dad was an Episcopal preacher and he and his kid were huge Star Wars fans but never had the chance to see it on a big TV. At the time, the average TV was like 27 inches and this TV was like 50. Anyhow, halfway through the movie, it's nighttime and pitch black out in a rural area. The kid tells me his dad would love to see this movie on the big TV. He then tells me his dad has been waiting outside the house in his car, in the dark, the whole time, on the off chance the kid could work it into the conversation and the dad could come inside and watch the movie. Cue me, waving at this car in the pitch black for this guy, in the full black suit with white collar, preacher to come inside and watch the rest of the movie with us, which is half over by now. My parents, watching this guy walk inside in the middle of the night, looking horrified and wondering WTF is happening. Not me, but I worked as a bartender for a while and heard a lot of horror stories secondhand. This one girl who was a regular came in and told me about an awful Tinder date she had. Not sure of the specifics, but it wasn't bad enough for her to not bring him home afterward. He leaves the next morning, she brushes it off as a one-night stand, and a few days later, her debit card gets declined. Odd, since she is a bartender herself at a fairly busy place in our city and is good about saving and usually flush with cash. She goes to check her debit card, turns out there were a bunch of charges at Best Buy, Grubhub, a bunch of other stuff. Curious, she checks her credit card too. There she found a bunch of charges for streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Sling, everything. She goes to confront the guy and finds out he deleted his profile. But she remembers a friend they had in common on Facebook. She reaches out to the mutual friend to try and track him down and it turns out he did the exact same thing to that mutual friend. Not sure if what the outcome was but she was out for blood after a mediocre hookup turned into a serious case of identity theft. Sexted with this really hot girl after matching for about a day, and she starts getting all kinky with me. She then tells me she's actually a guy trolling me. I said joke's on you cause I'm bi. He unmatched. I went on a date with this guy who I didn't really have anything in common with but thought I'd give him a shot anyways. We met up at a bar and he had already pounded 2 pitchers of beer but was completely sober, at least from what I could tell. We hung out, talked, and although he seemed nice enough, I wasn't quite feeling it. I wanted to leave but he convinced me to go to another bar to get one last drink. Seeing as it was only about 8 p.m. I agreed to one more drink. We were sitting at the bar and a couple was making out next to us. He looked at me and asked what I thought people in the bar would do if he and I started making out. I knew where this was going. I tried to laugh and make some joke about no one paying attention. He then insisted that we should make out. I nervously laughed and told him that wasn't a very good idea and excused myself to the restroom. I came back to the seat and he had a shot waiting for me and insisted I drink it. No shot for him, just me. I declined and he got really upset and said he was ready to go. At that point in the evening he had consumed 2 pitchers of beer, 4 margaritas, and 2 more pints yet displayed no sign of being intoxicated. Nonetheless I knew there was a lot of alcohol in his system and asked if he thought it was a good idea for him to drive. He got extremely defensive and said he was fine. We exited the bar and he took off in the opposite direction. When I got home I texted him just to make sure he was okay because had so much to drink. His response? I only date girls I fuck on the first date. Dodged a bullet with that one. I went on a Tinder date a couple months ago on a Sunday afternoon. Met up with the guy around 3, he had a really good energy and was funny and complimentary. The place we wanted to go had a long line, so we went to another restaurant on the water for a drink and appetizers. He started slamming down Mai Tais. I had 1, he had 3. They were strong. Like, I was tipsy, borderline drunk off of one. The bar had a 2 Mai Tai per person limit, but he found another bartender to get his third. He got drunker and started telling me he loved me, joking at first but getting increasingly serious. As we left he asked me to marry him. I kind of laughed it off, and was like, maybe we take it slow, we just met each other. He got so mad he stormed off and left me on a street corner. Then as soon as he got home, it was 5 p.m, he started texting me, come over. And I miss you. He was 43, what the fuck? He told me he's not gay but he prefers to have sex with men and prefers to be on the bottom. I asked if he was bi and he said no, I'm straight, I just like getting fucked in the ass. And then he asked me if he could pee in my butt cause he's always wanted to try it but he won't top guys so he can't find out how it feels. He's the head football coach of a private college in my state and that made it even weirder somehow. Edit, just wanna add that I'm a woman and not a gay man at all, LMAO. I messaged a girl who wanted to meet up, so I go out to the coffee shop and she's not there. I ask her what's up and she totally admits to being a dude catfishing me just so he could check me out in public, and goes on a rant about what a shame it is that I'm a lesbian because he'd totally fuck me. I feel like the creepiest part for me was that he never once tried to get nudes or anything, which I'd at least understand the effort for, he just wanted to stare at me in public. Went on a date after talking to this guy for a few weeks and I told him I was thinking of getting my nose pierced but was afraid it would hurt. We are walking through a park in broad daylight and this dude takes a safety pin out of his pocket and fucking jams it through his nostril. Blood pours down his face. He laughs and says, see? No big deal. Dude, what the fuck? I've been waiting for the right thread for this. After a movie date with a guy I met on Tinder, we came back to my place. We'll call him Dude. I told him we could hang for a bit but I have work in the morning so I would need to go to sleep soon. Dude said that was fine, but he was hungry and he was going to order food. Okay, sure. Dude orders 2 large subs from Potbelly and a milkshake. Downs it? No judgment, he's 6 feet 4 inches, 210 pounds, younger still growing, by all means. I didn't think anything of it until later. We end up messing around a bit and fall asleep in bed. I wake up to my front door opening and closing several times over a 5-minute period. My dogs are going nuts, and it's 1 a.m. What the heck is this guy doing? I open the door to my room that opens up to the rest of my apartment and my bathroom is to the left where the light is on and the door is wide open. I walk around the corner to make eye contact with dude who is in a squatting position over my toilet, with a stick, poking around in murky brown poop water that is millimeters from overflowing onto my bathroom floor. Horrified, he yells, "Stop looking at me. Go back to bed. I have it under control." I'm still waking up trying to understand what I'm seeing and what's going on, and I just start nervous laughing. I don't know what else to do. He yells, "Why don't you have a plunger?" And I said I don't know, I never needed one until now. He tells me to go back to bed, he has it under control. I'm so disturbed, tired, can't process what's happening and have work in the morning. I go back to bed. I remember hearing him peek in my room a bit later and heard, "I fixed it." And then heard him leave and my door close behind him. The next morning, I hesitantly approach my toilet to find the water is down. But there is something poking out from the bottom of the toilet like he didn't get it all. Upon further inspection, what I was seeing was the tip of a stick. Some gloves, towels, and barbecue tongues later I pulled out approximately 3 foot of stick from my toilet that had broke off, followed by several other stick fragments. Dude had broke several sticks. I heard my door open and close so much, because he was going outside to look for a stick, one would break, he'd go get another. Dude had left drip of poop water stains all over my bathroom floor. He also left my apartment so fast, that he left his underwear and undershirt and socks. After work that day, I went straight to the store and bought a plunger. Lesson learned. TLDR, Guy from Tinder ate a bunch right before bed, took a huge poop while I was asleep, woke up to him trying to plunge the toilet with a stick he found outside. Edit, I forgot I posted this and just came back so surprised. First Reddit awards. Thanks guys. Not me, my dad. Not Tinder either, it was Match.com. My dad had been on Match for about 3 months with some success. He's a tall Australian man who's decent looking, so he had some interest. One weekend he got sent his first nude which he thought had strange, but brushed it off. Later that week he got 6 more nudes from the same woman. Before he blocked her, he decided that he would open them just for kicks. 5 of the pictures are just straight up bag shots, which he said were incredibly unappealing and had terrible lighting. The 6th picture, however, was something different. The woman was standing in her bra in front of a mirror, puss out, winking, with a bunch of herbs shoved in her bra. Basil, parsley, thyme, all that good stuff. The caption on the picture was "Spice Rack." She was swiftly blocked after my dad stopped laughing long enough to find the block button. Posted this before, but I've an update, so here we go. Went on a date with a girl off Tinder and we hit it off okay. No real chemistry though, and figured I'd never see her again. Next night she texts me and tells me she's at a bar near me for a birthday and that I should come through. I figure why not and meet up and end up having a great time. She's super chatty and there's definitely something there that wasn't there the night before. After a few hours she tells me we should go back to my place. Why the hell not? We're talking the entire cab ride back and she's coherent and fine. We get to my place and she opens up her door and face plants onto the street. She has somehow become blackout drunk during the 10-minute cab ride. At this point she is incoherent and can't tell me where she lives, so I pick her up and walk her up the block to my place, up 3 flights, and settle her in my room. I don't feel okay sharing a bed with her when she's like this, so I leave her some water and put a trash can by the bed, just in case, and start to leave my room and head to the couch. I hear something as I get to the door and turn back in time to see her roll off my bed, hit her neck on the corner of the trash can, and slam onto the floor. She then starts painting the walls like a sprinkler. I just watch it happen for a minute. I can't do anything. Once she stops, I pick her up and take her to the bathroom. She starts round 2 as I go back to my room and start cleaning up. After a few minutes, I go check on her and she is passed out in my toilet. At this point, she is completely immobile and I can't get her up. She has become 50 pounds heavier. So I grab a pillow, put her head in my lap, and resolve to sleep in the bathroom with her, worried my roommate might stumble upon her in the middle of the night. After a few hours of rough sleep she wakes me up and tells me she needs to use the bathroom. I leave and let her do her thing. After about 15 minutes, I get worried and go to knock on the door only to find it ajar. I push it open only to be confronted with a wall of stink. She has passed out on my toilet while taking the most obscene shit. And her head is now jammed between the toilet back and my sink somehow. I manage to get her head free, but she is out. I can't do anything anymore. I can't get her up and I can't wipe her ass for her. So I leave her and go to the couch. After a few hours I hear her get up and go to my bed. I check in on her and she is out, fully clothed, in my bed, and covered in puke still. Defeated, I go back to the couch. I have to work early in the morning, so I go to check in on her around 7 a.m. only to find she has gotten her period in my bed. I leave her $10, a t-shirt, and jeans, and directions to the nearest laundromat. She texted me later apologizing and we went on another date and ended up sleeping together. It only becomes painfully clear to me later that she was probably roofied by someone at the bar and I should have gotten her medical attention. Fast forward 4 years, I go to a holiday party for my girlfriend's company and she's there. Turns out she's dating one of my GF's clients. She doesn't recognize me and I don't make an attempt to remind her. This happened just after I decided to get into the dating scene after a traumatic end to a 3-year relationship. So it's 24:45 and a Tinder match messages me asking what I'm doing, then invites me to go out with her. I think it's a bit late, but the clubs are open for 3 to 4 more hours, so why not? I should take opportunities, right? I'm a single man in his 20s for the first time. She says she'll pick me up, driving in towards the town from outside of it, and I put on cologne and a nice shirt, get ready to go out. I go to the car, my match is in the front passenger seat and her friend is driving. I think it's pretty weird, but having a friend along isn't super off, so I get in and ask which club we're going to. We're not going out, just out. My match says as we drive off. Where are we going? I ask, feeling a little uncomfortable. Just into town, she replies. They drive to a nearby bridge with a car park under it and park, turn the radio up and start chatting. The girl driving pulls out a 1L, 2 pints, bottle of chocolate milk and starts drinking it. They talk about the most boring shit, barely include me in conversation and start rolling cigarettes. After 15 minutes they get out of the car to have a smoke, I get out too. My Tinder match is wearing fluffy white slippers that light up with each step. I turn and face them. I appreciate you guys picking me up, but this really isn't my scene. I'm going to head off, have a nice night. They were very offended.